And there we go, the desk, the beautiful desk on the studio. Look at this. Vanir versus Team Singularity. So in terms of bans, what are we looking for to begin with?
I'm looking at bot lane bans, honestly. I'm looking possibly towards a Jinx, towards a Caitlyn, maybe a Victor as well. Something that's like very oppressive and likes to push really fast.
I was going to say that Seraphine needs to be taken into the bag because we're talking about Muda here.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
obviously played a lot of Seraphine in the former seasons. I think you take a look at Vanir and you take a look at the mid lane too. Sekiro is a guy that we in the past is something that we called the...
An OTP rise, and he proved us wrong.
Okay, Caitlyn is going to be removed as well. Again, the bot lane focus. Will Ezreal get out of this ban phase?
I don't know, because I think Ezreal is quite counterable right now, especially because he doesn't have a lot of push. If you put him against a lane that has a really hard shove in 2v2, Ezreal will miss out. He will get poked out, he will play underneath his tower, and yeah, that gives your support the opportunity to possibly roam around the map and maybe win the other side of the map. This could potentially be something that Vanir will move towards, you know, leave alone Kevo in the bot lane, allow him with first strike, play underneath his tower. That could be the ideal scenario, but I'm so happy to see that Victor is completely out of the picture, but that leaves Jinx open, and yeah, there you go. That means that Kevo will have a support in his lane.
There we go. Bot lane focus all through the ban phase. Jinx on the other side is going to be Jinx and Orianna. So we already have the carries for the bot lane and the mid lane as well. We now need to see on those supports. Are you okay, Goldberg?
I'm not too sure.
He has 2 microphones. Is he about to sing?
He's so special.
well,
man. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
I think I
there
got
we go.
you.
I finally hear myself. Yeah. Either way, as I was saying beforehand as well, like Thresh is still open and available, which is a champion we could look at paired up with the Jinx down too. I think it would make a lot of sense. But no, you know what? Let's just take it the other way around and pair it up with the Lulu, which is still very much oppressive towards the stages of a late game team fight. So right now we were talking about building it around the bottom lane at Vanir. I think we're very much doing so, and I'm expecting to see the rest of the composition be rounded up with more tanks.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Because
What's
I'm
up?
thinking from the sort of Singularity, a Jarvan here would be so pivotal. 3 completely immobile champions with a Lulu. You've got the ball delivery system with a Jarvan. Lock them all in, put the shockwave on top, curtain call from way miles behind in the fountain. I feel like if Singularity can play with the distance they're creating with the Jhin and the distance that they can create even more with a Jarvan ultimate, I think this could be a very well-rounded scenario for them.
That way, probably Vanir will look into the supports after that on the second ban phase. Let's see what Team Singularity are going to pick. And it's going to be Karthus, who's going to be picked into Team Singularity. So I reckon this is jungler Karthus.
It is.
I hope so.
It's very interesting, but Paul is a guy that's been playing Karthus mostly in solo queue. If you take a look at his ID there as well, so it just makes sense on that end. It's going to be curious to see when you obviously pair it up with a lot of AP. You already have 2 of them, and you don't have the jungler right now from the side of Vanir. So if you want to, you know, Kindred is still a champion you could bring out if you like that. Hecarim is a good champion to ban away because speaking of solo queue, Noodle's most played champion in solo queue is Hecarim too. So you can see that they're going for a lot of target bans just outside of the preseason we have at the moment.
I feel like Vanir should go definitely for top lane bans because it's very clear that Singularity are going to leave the last pick for their top laner since Lulu has been shown, so they do know exactly what their bot lane matchup will be and they can choose accordingly the support due to that. So I'm thinking we're looking for Tatooine to play a pick that can snowball the side, which is something that we also talked about previously on the pre-match. And Tatooine is a guy that can snowball if you give him the right tools to do so, and having R5 is a very crucial pick.
If you take these champions that are able to remove your HP no matter what HP you have, you reckon you can take to Tatooine Tom Kench and have another delivery for the ball?
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
I like the spicy picks.
There needs to be something that creates either disengage for Singularity here or engage. And same for Vanir. Like, Vanir do have the tools to pull out a lot of damage, protect them with the Lulu, fair enough. But none of these 2 teams have anything to engage or disengage with. So right now we're playing sort of the back and forth where they want to keep their distance from each other. You know, the Jhin is very protected all the way at the back, having the Orianna and the Karthus wall. So we need something to spice it up, something that will start things.
So I think for sure you either here take like a support where you want to roam up towards on the map, something you know where there's not going to be too much kill pressure with the Lulu and the Jinx. So I feel like going for the Nautilus here is a great pickup because he's very good at locking a specific target down in team fights, but it's also easy for him to get out and around on the map. So leaving a Jhin alone won't cost you too much. And we already talked about a little bit in the pre-show, like how volatile it can be to snowball. So if you can't beat the Lulu Jinx, try and snowball the rest of the map. You got that last pick for the top laner too.
This is exactly what is going to happen. Oh, and the other side is going to be Xin Zhao, the pick for the jungle. Now they have a way to actually go into the back line and disrupt what they're trying to protect.
Sure, you also have the Ryze there who can be the delivery system for maybe the Ornn from what they're showing right here, or the Xin Zhao into the back line. Now the problem here is that Kathos is extremely vulnerable, especially when he's in the jungle. He needs his time. He has 14 minutes precisely before any aggressive plays take place. But he has a very squishy team other than a Nautilus, and Gwen is pretty much like a lane neutralizer. She does pretty okay into anything. Now, it's very crucial what Tatooine will choose to play here. I am thinking Aatrox. Like, I think Aatrox would make the utmost value here for them. Something that's aggressive, something that can go in, maybe with the anchor of the Nautilus. Something other thing that I'm thinking about.
What about Jace?
Would be,
Good.
I don't want to say. I want to say
Oh, I
Jace.
love it.
Yeah.
So we are finally starting to see the composition rounded up here. I think Vanir is a little bit greedy with the Gwen pick because at this point in time, it is quite telling what Singularity need for their draft to go well. Like, topside needs to go well for you now because Jhin will just get outscaled. That is just how it is now. So there's a lot of pressure onto Tatsuya now on this Wukong. So it's going to be curious to see how it's going to form out because you don't have too many prior lanes really. Like bot lane, no prior, you're against double range, right? In the mid lane, Ryze can get prior towards the early game. So this Karthus, like if he starts getting invaded on by some of the other laners with the priority, he's going to have a tough time. So for Singularity, man, I can be a bit worried for them.
So without further ado, it's time to send it over to the casters. The first game of the split, it is Jamada and Hip Rain. It's up to you guys.
Thank you very much, guys. Hello and welcome to the caster desk. My name is obviously Hip Rain and I'm joined by the wonderful Jamada. Jamada, it has been a bloody long off season. I've missed you, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. It has been a very long time. Basically, EUM summer, right? Since the last time we basically worked together. So I'm excited to finally get back into it. Yeah, all the way back in September. It's been a very, very long time. A lot of things have happened between then inside of the league scene. So I'm very excited to kick things off, man, because I think from top to bottom in the league in general, we've got a lot of exciting teams to talk about. And obviously, this game in particular, I think we've got some pretty spicy drafts here too.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's a lot to talk about because obviously, you know, since we've last cast, at least there's been a preseason. There's been a lot of changes that have gone on. But at the same time as well, you know, there has been other tournaments in place. So people will have a rough understanding, but we'll talk through some of the new stuff and, you know, new items, new dragons and all that when they come up. But for now, we'll be taken to the Rift for our first game of the day. This is Vanir taking on Team Singularity. And so far, it's a bit of a chill start of setting up the line of scrimmage along the river here. Although we do see a couple of Singularity move up and just try to take out some wards.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call that a line of scrimmage. It looks like SNG are maybe trying to predict a deep ward by Porp, and it's going to be eaten up immediately. Porp's in danger.
Well, it's Noodle who's in danger, but Noodle's can be able to get away. It's the other way around, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah, first game of the split. You got to give me one. All right, there you go. So
that's your one. That's it. You're done. You got a minute, and that's it.
Yeah, so Noodle loses his flash there. We'll see how that actually impacts some of his early gank pressure, if you can find any. Of course, Orianna, when you're talking about lane against Ryze, it's usually an okay lane matchup, but if you start to have, you know, your Xin Zhao walk into this lane very frequently, and Karthus not really a jungler that wants to straight up 2v2 24/7, it can be very dangerous for Noodle to walk into this 2v2 without his flash up, but it's like blue buff start for both these junglers. You imagine Porp will probably want to go for a full clear here. Of course, the jungle too has been changed. Scuttle Crab, the first Scuttle Crab, it's just not worth as much XP anymore. So you will tend to see junglers, even aggressive ganking junglers like Xin Zhao, maybe even take the pretty full clear round. But we will track these guys as the game progresses.
We'll keep our eyes on them for now, but it's just that pretty standard start. Both junglers are starting upon the opposite side of the map from one another. And Quicksef does need to be a little bit careful of an anchor flying out from that bush onto him, but Tatooine going to be able to pick up the level advantage over Nilly, and that means he's going to just be able to zone him off some of this farm and some of this wave for the moment.
Yeah, we are very, very familiar, you and I, with Hepe's Nautilus, coming from the UKLC.
Yes.
Most played
Yes.
champion in summer, and there's a reason for it. He was absolutely deadly on it. Only champion that I would fear Mr. Hepe on more is probably the Thresh. But they are pretty
It's interesting. It's interesting coming back to this split as well, because you're talking about how if you followed the UK scene, you'll be familiar with Jeppe, especially on things like the Nautilus. But there's obviously new players, new teams, some players that are maybe returning or you haven't seen for a little while. We did used to have Nilly in the UK scene a long while back, but he was around. Went on to greener pastures, I believe, for a little bit. I can't actually, off the top of my head, I can't actually remember where Nilly went. But Nilly did go to a few other places.
Nilly went off to the LVP.
Yes, of course, that was it.
It wasn't particularly the most successful split, but he did go off to green pastures, I suppose.
I love Nilly though, because Nilly's always been like a split pusher. He's always been a really aggressive top laner and really fun to watch play the game. Gwen can fill that niche for him, obviously into the Wukong. I'm not particularly familiar on this matchup, so I kind of like, what do you think we're going to actually see from the double ignite teleport top lane Wukong versus Gwen? There we go. Forgot the
There you go.
I wanted to say Camille because she has scissors as well.
Yeah, true. They are both holders of scissors technically. I mean, I think Wukong, in a lot of matchups, obviously he wants to kind of just try and trade HP, get his lane opponent into sort of this range of HP where he can actually commit into a 1v1 and find a solo kill. But I think Gwen can honestly hold her own, and especially because Wukong's passive is only giving him armor, he doesn't get the additional magic resist. You can see sometimes the trades, I mean, that clone, I'm pretty sure the clone has the same stats as Wukong. So you can see sometimes the trades, if Nile does line up the true damage from Snip Snip, Tatooine will eat up a lot of damage. I think as things go on, when you start to look at like 1.5 items, 2 items, I think Nile will just outscale, and for Tatooine it's going to turn into, how can he find these flanks, these team fights onto Kevo and onto Sierra.
Thought it was going to be a bit of a interesting invade from the Carthus, but decides to head back into the safety of their own jungle. And for the moment, it's been a relatively chill start. Obviously, we did have that cheeky invade for the ward, which forced Noodle to burn that flash early. And that it's actually quite a stunt to Vanir's jungle early, because obviously, you're talking about how the Carthus doesn't really have any ganking ability, especially early. But this Xin Zhao champion, he can go into a lane, and having that flash is a really useful tool for that. So, being down that flash means Noodle has had to play a little less aggressive than maybe they would have liked to have. But now that flash is coming up, and you can see as soon as that flash comes up, straight into Carthus' jungle to steal away that chicken camp.
And crucially, Mute is actually second here to the teleport. Though he has first move for now, he will start to miss the wave. I mean, look at the damage coming out of Noodle!
Look at the damage, Noodle! He's just got it! First blood picked up just like that.
Yeah, Porp doesn't even bother to flash. I think he just knows he's dead. And even if that fight went on any longer, Sahira would have had the wave coming in. He would have followed very, very quickly behind. You get the replay of it. There's not really much to see, to be honest with you. Noodle just one-shots Porp. And I mean, that's the danger of, trying to just go for this full clear style. And you have something like the Xin Zhao that can walk into the jungle and just run you over like that. Noodle asserting his dominance in the jungle 1v1.
That's exactly what Noodle needed. I think you got a few of those camps as well. A little bit of the camp as well. So just a little bit of bonus gold. Seasoning on top of that kill, let's say.
Seasoning on top of the camp, really. If you're a jungler, you don't care about kills when you're a jungler. You just want the camps. That's what you're there
exactly.
For, 6 minutes in, first blood goes over to Vanir. And Noodle, with that additional gold injection, you would imagine wants to start to get that snowball to continue to roll. As on the top side, Porp has a stacked wave here with Tatooine, but I don't know if they really want to go for a dive. And actually on the minimap, you can see Sahira starting to fog up towards the top side, has the roam up available. So I think that's just a signal to SMG to not go for this. And down on the bottom side, Vanir say, all right, looks like they were potentially setting up for a top side dive. We will respond with this dragon. So Vanir, they went out on that invade towards the Raptors, and now they will get themselves this first Hextech Dragon, which means no Hextech Soul for the opening game.
It's Chemtech, baby.
NLC.
I can feel it in my bones.
Right, so there's Mountain. I mean, you got a 1 in 4 chance still, right? You never know.
Yeah.
Okay, but Jake, what if we get Cloud?
They changed Cloud, though.
I guess, but it's still...
It's still Cloud Dragon. But if they changed it...
This is problematic for Porp. He's going to have to flash.
Yeah, well, Nilly's got the needlework, and that's going to force Porp to flash. Does miss out on that next needlework, and Maybe skips and slashes over the wall, but no, Porp's going to be A-OK. Nilly able to force out Porp's flash.
Yeah, I think quite a while ago, Gwen had her skip and slash cooldown sort of return nerfed, so can't quite follow that one through. And even if she could, the blast cone was still there. So I think it would have been, one too many walls, unfortunately, for Nilly to chase down. But forces Porp to flash, and Porp on the bottom side, losing jungle camps, loses blue buff, loses Gromp. Actually behind in CS to a Xin Zhao. That is not what you want. You want these CS numbers to be flipped in this kind of matchup. But Porp, unfortunately, not really having the early opening on this Karthus that he'd like. The lane priority isn't quite there all of the time for him, unfortunately. He's definitely being punished for it in the 1-to-1. And I think in the lanes right now, about where you'd expect most of these CS numbers. Nothing crazy, no massive leads. Anyway, Nilly is going to catch up in the top side of that wave that's stacked up. So inside the lanes is fine. It's mostly the jungle, which is the problem matchup right now. But I mean, the gold overall, practically even. So I don't think they're too pressed SNG right now. I think scaling can definitely play a massive role when you're talking about having an Orianna and a Karthus on the team.
I think it's worth talking about some of the changes as well that obviously been going on, because I'm sure for a lot of our chat, they're very much aware of the teleport changes and kind of how that affects the game and, the unleashed teleport. But there might be a few people who've taken, off-season off or maybe not played as much since. So teleport has been changed. Pre-14 minutes, you can only teleport to towers. After 14 minutes, it becomes unleashed teleport, and it works pretty much like it used to. But I might have to hold that because Jeppe has been hit by the wind becoming lightning, but Noodle bops back with a crescent guard, forces Tatooine away, doesn't quite clip him with that W. And it's just going to be a little bit of action cooled off pretty quickly.
Yeah, it will be.
That.
I mean, yeah, take it back, Jake. All right, Hepe heard you. He said, no, it's not. Blows the flash of Quickseth. Now Rumble coming up to the top side. Porp.
Yeah, able to lock him in place as Noodle jumps in and Kevo finds the kill. They do unleash the Requiem, but it's only a little bit of poke damage. Noodle going to be A-OK.
Yeah, indeed he will. I mean, worst case as well, Quickseth even had the heal if they felt like there was any danger. There wasn't. That's another kill. Going over to Vanir, they'll also get the Rift Herald, which they swapped for. And SNG right now, just, a step behind. Feels like in some of these plays, didn't look like they necessarily wanted to commit too heavily to contesting for this Rift Herald, so they leave Jin on the bottom side to sort of 1v1 the Gwen. Doesn't really get too much for it, a bit of CS, but I mean, even if you compare Kevo and ZK's CS, Kevo's up, and now he's probably going to get this Rift Herald injected into him wherever they decide to put it. That's obviously the next question for Vanir, but Vanir just taking control of the game slowly but surely. The gold lead doesn't really indicate how much control they've had so far in the first 10 minutes of the game.
We've got the Dragon coming up in 1 minute 30. And you can see they've already swapped everybody back down. That doesn't mean the teleports will be teleports they can get to the Dragon quickly with, though, if it's a start on spawn, because it'll be spawning at around 13 minutes-ish. So you won't have those unleashed teleports yet. But both top laners are still holding their teleports. There are still towers for them to get to. Just be a bit of a longer walk if they want to get in on the scrap. We'll see whether or not they do it on spawn. They might wait it up. Just wait a little bit longer to see if those teleports can get upgraded in time. As we can take stock of the items that are starting to come through here, because the Gore Drinker has been finished up for Noodle. We can see that the items are starting to close in for the AD carries, but nobody else has finished their Mythic yet. And we'll see what Muta and Sahira decide to go for. There are a few options, some changes to the mage items, i.e. Crown. But I might have to hold that because Muta and Sahira just go 1v1 that overload. Bouncing in and actually making that a pretty cool trade there between the two mids.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, this is probably just a win for Vanir, right? Because Mio commits the Shockwave, and that's a pretty big tool for these guys to at least consider contesting this Dragon. So likely now won't be the case. Noodle will actually commit back to base, so they don't want to use the Rift Herald here on this timer, it seems like. Twiddling their thumbs, leaving their bot lane, and whether or not they want to base or not. But yeah, Noodle is by far and away the most fed member of either team in this game right now. With that Gore Drinker actually finished, I just feel like SNG maybe just don't even try and contest this. If they do, I think they just get run over pretty heavy-handedly, but it doesn't really seem like they're set up for a play anywhere else. We'll have to see, as Sahira has to be a little bit careful, Porp. Eyeing up a gank, but Sahira senses something out. The second Dragon will very easily go over to Vanir.
What is going to be the first soul of the NLC? It's an ocean! Oh, More of the same.
It's so close, man. You know, because it looks green, and I was like, oh my god, it's the chem fog. It's coming.
It's a nice turquoise color. But you know,
Yeah.
a light spritzing of rain is going to cover the rift. As Noodle spotted out by a bunch of these traps. There is a lot of walls, a lot of traps, but they're just going to teleport behind the Sahara. They're going to use the teleport from Tatooine. Here comes the Requiem. This fight is already getting a little messy. Sahara's lost his life, and that is just a 1 for none. But Tatooine wants to chase. He's got the Cyclone. Can he close the gap? I don't think he's going to be able to do. Great polymorph comes out from Quickstep, and they're going to be able to move away. As Kevo actually starting to get a few more rockets in. It's just going to be all she wrote.
Yeah, mostly an outright win here for Vanir. They get away with a kill. Not only that, Nile doesn't commit the teleport because he just can't. He doesn't have the unleashed teleport yet. Get the replay. Realm Warp comes in, cuts off all angles of retreat, and you know they cool down the Requiem SMG just to try and return some damage. But Noodle, too healthy, gets the heal from Quickstep as well. Hepe doesn't have enough CC to lock down anyone underneath the tower, and the polymorph stops Tatooine from trying to make some kind of return happen.
Oh, more.
I thought it was
Sahara who died. I've realized I've just completely... No. Everything was a blur.
It's pretty crazy, that, in all fairness. But Vanir, they still come out on top. SNG, they need to find something somewhere because it really does feel like they are kind of just sitting on their hands right now. They're kind of just watching the tide go in and out, in and out. Letting Vanir play their game. Tatooine gonna have to be forced to use the Cyclone to shake Noodle off, and another lane swap comes in. Plates will be collected. This will be first tower within the plate drop off time as well. That's going to be Kevo really accelerated here. Actually, I don't know if I can ask for the gold, actually, just to see now, just because Kevo has been set so far ahead. I mean, even a second charge is going to come in. You can see 1,000 gold up, even more going to be shared.
This could be a second tower.
Yeah, it's an extra 233 gold going over. Kevo is really accelerated right now. 1k in his back pocket practically already just from coming out of phase.
Yeah.
This Jinx is
finished up
like
Gale Force as well, so has a bit of movement to work with, a little bit of survivability. But speaking of survivability, Nili's going to be needing it. Skips, doesn't slash, but is able to skip away underneath the tower to safety. And Vanir now just moving around as this death ball as they collapse on the mid lane, and they're going to take some pot shots here. Muta on the Orianna does have a little bit more wave clear than Tatooine does, or at least a saver wave clear. Yeah. It's just going to shockwave and actually catch Kevo, who just Gale Forces away to safety.
Yeah. 1 year later, I'm still angry at Gale Force, I swear. But,
oh, man. Don't get me started.
Let's not talk about it. I want to talk about SNG a little bit because I think, you know, for a lot of people coming back from spring to, from summer rather to spring now, obviously it was spoken about on the analyst desk as well. SNG are, you think SNG in the NLC and you think of, you know, a top side team, right? Sort of a top 4 team usually. Obviously gone for a different approach this time around. They've gone sort of this university player route. And so far, it doesn't seem to be paying off, at least against Vanir. Vanir, in their own right, definitely a very strong roster. I'm not sure where most people gauge these guys finishing. I think Vanir probably on paper should at least be finding playoffs, right? I don't think playoffs is outside of their possibility. I think when you think about SNG being in the league, there's a lot of question marks around M&M's roster as well, how strong they will be. But yeah, SNG with this lineup, a couple of obviously players we're familiar with, but they have to try and perform. And I feel like Vanir would have been a decent game to at least get that started right now, not going in their favor at all.
Well, looks like second Rift Herald spawn is just going to be gifted straight over to Vanir. They can probably use this to crack open that mid lane, which, you know, Muta is able to stabilize and just hold. Got the Luden's Echo finished up. It should just be able to, you know, one-shot waves pretty much in this Rift Herald will somewhat negate that. You can see the Everfrost has been finished up on Sahara. The, I can't remember the name of the healing item, but Gwen builds anymore. Rift
Maker.
Thank you, Rift Maker. Wow.
It's been, you know, we had my -1 for the pork noodle incident. We're already looking at like -3. Come on.
Yeah, I know. It's been a hot minute since I've seen a Rift Maker. What can I say? But here we go. That tower's going to collapse, and honestly, Singularity aren't really in position to contest the second charge here. I wonder if they're going to be able to take the tower, but Sahara's feeling it. Nope, he's not. He's going to cancel that, and I would say that's probably a good shout. Tower number 2 goes down. We're not going to see a greed anymore from Vanir, because that dragon is spawning in 15 seconds' time, and an Ocean Soul is going to give them a really powerful extended fights. So, do just want to look to pick up that third one, but they are looking potentially to collapse. They've got a nice little area of vision that Nili can hide off in the fog of war. And they can see everybody in Singularity thanks to that ward behind them, but Nilly will finally be spotted out. They're just going to peel back now towards this Ocean Dragon. And Singularity, it's on them to move into the blindness. They obviously have that Rift Crab, that Scuttle Crab, to give themselves a little bit of vision to work with. So they have a rough idea of what's going on.
Yeah, poke and prod is the name of the game right now. Mio almost had a flank, but seems like Corp has just been trouble.
Christian Guard's been flown down. Jeppe is unleashed and he's taken out by Sahira as they are just going to continue to jump in forward. The Requiem goes down. The Needlework's doing some work and actually Singularity find the turnaround. What a shockwave by Muta! Just like that, Singularity find their opening, but Sahira finds himself a triple kill, and now it's just gone back in favor of Vanir. Can Singularity find more? The health bars are low, but it looks like that's going to be it.
Yeah, mid laner's popping off in that fight. A fantastic shockwave from Muta comes out, but Sahira on his coveted rise is just doing so much work in return, firing off all the overloads. Get a replay here, the start of this fight. It's just Port being out of position, gets caught by the zap. Then all of a sudden it's mayhem in the mid lane. Port goes down immediately. This shockwave, though, is the eye catcher of this team fight. Once it comes out, it just really stops a lot of what Vanir are trying to do in their tracks. 3-man immediately, and they can't really go any further. But I mean, Sahira still has the health bar to work with there, and the red buff regenerating him up a little bit during the fight. But this is Unleashed Teleport pretty deep, but it's immediately going to be found out by Noodle. Tatsui's in danger.
Noodle just going to blast cone over, but now he's on the wrong side of everything. He has nowhere to go, but his team have come in for the backup. And now a 2-man shockwave by Muta. He finds the kill onto Noodle. Sahira does unleash himself. The Everfrost, a lot of people down. Right. But Worf is able to find the kill. And Vanir now are just having to run to safety. This first dragon for Singularity.
It's an absolute fist fight for this third dragon here between SNG and Vanir. Starts off in the mid lane, then it's immediately transitioned down to the red buff of Vanir because of a deep teleport that comes out initially from Tetue, then followed up by Muta. And again, another beautiful shockwave holds off the Vanir advance. And this is the thing I was talking about earlier. I very briefly mentioned it. The scaling of Vanir's team composition isn't actually horrible when you're talking about the range between Jhin, between Orianna. Obviously, Karthus can just kind of R from range, and he can definitely kite out some of the members here of Vanir. But I mean, SNG, they just find their moment really with the double teleport. Vanir can't really find a lethal onto anybody inside of the jungle, and now they lose out on that crucial Dragon Snowball into that early Ocean Soul.
Well, there we are, 19 minutes on the clock. It's a 2,000 gold lead, I think. My screen's quite blurry, to be honest with you. Actually, it's a 1,000 gold lead, almost 2,000 over to the side of Vanir. But honestly, those pickups have just pulled this gold back really nice here for Singularity. And now with the Baron on the map, you do obviously have something like a Jinx, which can really burst through it. Maybe it's a little early to thinking about starting it if you're on the side of Vanir, but they are starting to run out of areas where they can kind of cash in, because they've taken 2 towers top side, they've taken 2 towers mid side. Yeah. So it's only bot side is the only avenue to get some kind of bonus gold that isn't minions.
Yeah, I will say the usual rule of thumb to me is if your AD carry has 2 items, you've normally got a green flag to go for these Baron attempts. But not only do they have a 2-item Jinx, they have a 2-item Rise. So this Baron at 20 minutes is actually very, very squishy. They could burn it down very quickly. But I think
it's a fully upgraded Seraph as well for Sahira. Yeah. So, you know, is it a pretty good spot? Muta closing in on an upgraded Seraph once that's finished, but hasn't quite got the gold yet. And Muta's been playing very well in this game. Yeah. Multiple big shockwaves have honestly made either bad situations go okay, or bad situations go good for them. As Tatsui's actually going to jump in here onto Nilly, throws the Ignite down as well. Cyclone's coming in, the Requiem will land onto Nilly, and Tatsui finds the kill, but Sahira will answer out in a 1-for-1.
Yeah, it's actually Kevo's Rocket that steals away the kill from Sahira. So, yeah, 1-for-1 in the end of the day on the side lane. Very surprised by the amount of damage Tatsui actually put out there. Nilly, like I said earlier, I feel like outscales on the side lane, but right now, Wukong can definitely still get the best of that 1-for-1, it seems like, as SNG use this window of opportunity to take down the mid lane tier 1. So find themselves another tower on the map, a little bit of gold scratched back in their favor. But nothing else really to play for now. And like you say, actually, Muta playing very, very well on the Orianna. I think even though Muta had a very limited showing in summer last year, the showings that he did have were fairly positive. And I was quite saddened when he had to step back. Very glad to see him back in the NLC. And his first appearance here for SNG, definitely doing himself proud, I'd say.
Yeah, this is an absolutely solid performance coming in from Muta to start off with, and is going to go for the reset, not going to push for the tower. Nilly's here to clear the wave. That's probably that Ceres finished up now for the side of Muta. Actually goes for the Shadow Flame, so instantly trying to just work through these shields. Nice little pickup. This is one of these new items, what we were talking about. We finally got what to talk about, so I'll just hand the floor to you here, Jamada. Talk to us about Shadow Flame.
So it's basically an item that gives you pen if a target has recently been shielded, but at least to me, I feel like this stunts your scaling. You've got fully stacked here. Maybe Ceres doesn't, scale as well as it used to, because obviously that item itself got some changes. But yeah, definitely an interesting item choice. I guess we'll just have to track how much damage it does do, because at the end of the day, Vanir will have a couple of shields. Obviously, Lulu, the main offender. Noodle, if he ever does get to that Styrax gauge mark, for now actually looks like going into Wit's End second, which I think definitely a fairly smart choice here into mid jungle AP. So we'll have to track how much effectiveness that item actually ends up finding, of course, because he has the Lucis, doesn't have any other pen outside of the item, so maybe one in it for the magic penetration portion of the item. But either way, Muta still very strong. 2 item completions. You can't count him out, especially because of the shockwaves he's had so far.
Oh, maybe a collapse here, but these traps actually could be life-saving. Noodle's going to get caught. Oh, dodges the hook with the dash. And Sahira's come onto the backline. Look at the damage he's unloading. He finds the kill already. The needlework is ripping through everybody. And here comes the Requiem. It's just a sad, sad rain of damage onto Vanir, but they've taken what they wanted, and they're going to walk away with a win from that fight.
Yeah, I think they can walk away happy for now. It's still going to be a 3v2. Tatooine doesn't have Cyclone. Muta, however, has the Shockwave. So even though it's 3v2, that ultimate can definitely swing things in their favor, but they're jumping on
Noodle
to Muta.
Yeah, they are. He's going to flash or he's going to be able to find the kill. Muta burning low, the shields there. He survives. Kevo gets the kill and he's excited. Tatooine's being chased down. There's the shutdown. It's a clean sweep for the side of Vanir.
Yeah, SNG, Muta with that Shockwave can't make the difference that he wants to find. And Kevo, with Quickstep in his back pocket, just finds all of these kills. It's very easy for him to run down these members as soon as he gets that first passive proc off. And this will be the third dragon going over to Vanir here. And you could even maybe question whether they can try and look towards a Baron. I think it'll definitely be a little bit over the top here. Just definitely walk back with what you've won for now. And yeah, Dash dodges out on the dredge line. Not only that, knocks Hepe back and just kind of puts him out of position. Can't really do too much. Porp, again, it seems like in these team fights, just not finding the positions he wants to be in. Immediately drops. Isn't able to, sort of get any value out of his actual life. Finding more value in passive than anything, it seems like. As we fast forward here, Tatooine, Muta definitely have the ability here to 2v3 this, if you ask me, but Noodle, he's just got that flank, he's just in Fog of War, able to jump onto the Orianna, and once that excited proc comes in, Tatooine is all up.
Not sure why Quickstep flashed. Bit of a optimistic flash there from the Lulu.
Yeah, hey, supports need their kills too. Poor Quickstep.
So Jamada,
yes,
you were saying 2 items is a good measure of whether or not you can do Baron. Kevo's now got the Infinity Edge, and he's now also got a kill onto Jeppe. No, Sahira's got that kill. But they are able to pick these kills up, so I think this Baron probably will just melt here. The third item also on Sahira with that Zonya's Hourglass has been finished up, and I don't think this Curtain Call is going to do much to stop this tower from going down.
Yeah, no, they should have the inhibitor here. Muta's walking from the bomb side, but it looks like Nile is actually going to cut him off. So, yeah, just a little bit of an annoyance there, but they can't quite chip away the inhibitor just yet. 1 more rocket, 2 more rockets. And Tatooine not quite spotted out, but they are very, very weary of this flank. But they don't know he's there. They don't know he's there. He's going to find something, maybe.
He's jumped in. He's jumped out. He's not even risking it, mate. Not even thinking about it.
Yeah, that's one of those moments where if you have flash as the Wukong, that's a perfect start of a fight, of an engage. Get a Requiem on top, you hopefully slow enough members down for Muta to catch up with the Shockwave, but he went for the Ignite for the lane prowess. Means he doesn't have the additional gap closer to find his way onto multiple members, and that would have been death for Vanir, just to clarify, because there is no flash on anybody on Vanir at this moment in time. Combination of all those elements would have been very, very dangerous for Vanir to deal with, but now SNG, they're starting up the Baron. Vanir, more than aware it's happening, they don't want it to go down easily.
It was a surprising amount of damage it did to it, but Noodle, he's just going to jump straight into Jeppe, and Jeppe is in so much danger. Nilly's on the flank, the Requiem's going to come down, and Muta might just be looking for that big shockwave, that big turnaround, and now Nilly has jumped onto the backline. A three-man shockwave by Muta, and this is Singularity's moment to go. There's the Cyclone, there's the Tidy Up. Vanir have just crumbled, they've fallen apart. It's only Kevo as he dodges the hook, but he's rooted in place. Gale forces the safety, stopwatches the death charge as he is bonked by the monkey. Tatooine finds the shutdown, a grand in his pocket, and a Baron for the team.
I mean, SNG, they find the fight, and I mean, what else could you ask for at this moment in time? You've got Dragon in 2 minutes, which is the sole denial, potentially, if they can get themselves set up for it. SNG just find the perfect fight, and it comes off the back of Nilly just getting, I don't know, too overconfident, not expecting the damage to come out. I mean, he didn't have the Hallowed Mist either to sit inside and, you know, maybe block out some damage too. He used it to actually negate the Requiem from Port. So it's just a crazy overstep, and that in combination with that massive shockwave from Muir again, who has shown up big time in this game, gives SNG the Baron. They don't even lose the Nexus Towers, which is definitely looking like it was about to be a risk there. And now, with this Baron, they can set up the lanes, they can try and make sure they get set up here for this Dragon. And it all comes off the start of what I would definitely call a very audacious Baron startup. As you'll see, Google goes in, Pepe almost gets blown up immediately, but they don't quite find Lethal. And I think Nile just sees red. I think he's looking for Pepe. It's really hard to tell. He just dashes into the middle of everyone. Requiem, you can see, used or blocked by the Hallowed Mist at the top, and then the shockwave onto 3 members. Once Nile's dead, it's just the go signal for SNG to clean house here. And Depth Charge,
he also
finds it smart. It makes Kevo, of course, use the stopwatch, and once he's stopwatched, he is all but dead.
He also ran out of the Hallowed Mist as well, which was really rough for him. Even though, you know, it doesn't block the damage, you're still getting resistances while in it. So that also kind of, you know, shut Nilly down somewhat. And, you know, a game where a lot of us were like, yep, this is probably just going to be Vanir taking it. Singularity doing a really, really solid job of making themselves relevant here. Tatooine's having an absolute corker on the Wukong, and Muta playing just incredible. So many impactful shockwaves so far coming out from Muta. And this is a brilliant start for Singularity to the spring split.
Yeah, I mean, I think the early game definitely looked a little bit shaky. They just didn't really seem like they had an avenue to play towards. And I think that's definitely a bit of a symptom of the draft. You have Karthus, you have a mid laner that's not really trying to roam anywhere. And you have a top side which is kind of just negated in terms of the 1v1 because of the Xin Zhao pick. You never want to try and force that 2v2, but outside of that, once they finally found their fights, you know, given Muta the opportunity to find these amazing shockwaves, their team fights have been spectacular. And I think, again, you know, credit to the draft in that regard, in terms of facing up against Vanir's, you can really do a lot with the ball, with curtain calls, you know, with the ability to just, you know, point and click with the depth charge. There is a lot of simplicity to SNG's team fight execution once you actually start to get down to the nitty-gritty of things. Vanir just lost control at that third dragon, and since then it's just been, you know, kind of a bit of a boxing match. Teams pulling blows left and right, but it's SNG that have come out on top in the neutral objective game.
But this man on your screen is still a problem. Sahara on the rise, 6-3-3, working towards that Void Staff, finished up that Void Staff, 4 items on the rise, 277 farm. Honestly outputting some crazy numbers, and Muta actually has gone for a Void Staff themselves, so not finishing up the Seraphs quite yet, actually looking just to try and play something, you know, keep relevant in that sense, can kind of burn through some of this magic resistance that is coming through. You can see that Noodle's got a Wit's End in the inventory, there's a magic resistance boost on Sahara, you know, so it does help somewhat here, and it's also a very cheap and quite cost-effective item.
Yeah, it definitely is. Void Staff has, for the last, I think, 2 years now, at the very least, since the mage items were changed, been a very, very cost-efficient item, like you say. Even if there's not really a lot of magic resist on the enemy team, you can still just slot it in as like a third item. Yeah. Quite comfortably, just because of the stats it offers you. And now Sahara on the
cheap
bottom
build
side.
path as well.
Yeah, very, very cheap build path, very, very strong build path. Now Sahara on this bottom side, I think this is maybe what I want to see during some of the dead time, right? When there's no neutral objectives on the map from Vanir, try and leverage this 1-3-1 the best you can. I don't know if Nile can actually 1v1 Tatooine at the moment, just because of, you know, the level differential. Not only that, of course, the IM differential anymore, but Sahara is certainly very capable of being on the sideline here with these 4 items in his inventory. I think he can probably 1v1 Tatooine almost comfortably. I think Muta might be a bit of a problem just because you can play range with the Orianna ball, but I think they want to try and leverage some kind of pressure. Right now, 5v5 just haven't really been going in their favor. And I think if you can avoid them for now, you definitely want to play away from what seems to be SNG's strength right now, post this sort of 20-minute mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're actually looking to jump in onto Jin. Gale forces away. The flash comes down as well. Sahira. But a lot there for just his ultimate. So really nice stuff there for Vanir. Takes away some of the safety that now we are playing with for the side of Singularity's bot lane. It's going to be on Muta to make sure that the shields are coming in and they're able to peel. Otherwise, that Jin is going to get blown up.
Yeah, that he will. Doesn't really feel like we've had much impact here from the Jin so far. Hopefully we do get to see
a couple of zoning curtain calls is probably the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I think Muta has.
They took mid lane tower because of the curtain call.
True.
I'm just saying it.
That's true.
It zoned everyone off the tower, and they took the tower. So you know, it hasn't been Kevo 5-1 on the Jinx. He's almost full build now. Oh, that was a little bit of a Nautilus hook effect for us team. What?
Yeah, that's the low ground, high ground. Plus, you know, Quickstep was kind of walking away, and yeah, it just made that hook look a lot longer than it probably was in reality. But I mean, the end result is Quickstep had to use his flash, so not going to have that one. And Lulu without flash is definitely a very, very vulnerable target. So Quickstep will have to play very, very safe. Just try and pocket Kevo in a manner where he just can't really get jumped onto anymore. Can't flash aggressively anywhere. Could definitely be a pretty big talking point when you're talking about the Ocean Soul point. Still for Vanir, just under 90 seconds away. SNG, though, you feel, given how these previous teamfights have gone, are still very happy to just take these 5v5s outright. Baron's up in 15 seconds as well. Oh, Vanir eyeing something up on this board again.
They're looking for it. Keep your eyes on Muta. Jefe unfortunately misses the hook. The rocket also goes through the goalposts. Doesn't hit anybody. Singularity probably okay with that, considering.
I think so. SMG didn't really have to blow too much at all, if anything, really. It was Vanir using Almost Noodle, which can be short cooldown if he can actually find targets to use his 3-talent strike on to reduce the cooldown. And of course that Mega Death Rocket, which should be up by the time Dragon is on the map. But see SNG posturing more towards the Baron side. I think this kind of makes sense, but they're definitely going to have to transition over if they want to stop Vanir from taking that Ocean Soul point. Or maybe they just say, hey, let's go for a start now before this Dragon is up. We bring Vanir over, and then we can fight on our terms.
That looks exactly like what they're looking to do. Jefe standing in that pixel brush, looking for the hook. Noodle has to be very careful. Hit by the zap, though. This Baron's dead. It's just gone. They can't get close enough, and that's the Baron secured. The second one for the side of Vanir is they're actually going to realm warp away towards this Dragon. Remember, this is a big one. This is Soul for Vanir, and they're going to be able to absolutely melt through it. The curtain's been called. Tatui doesn't have Cyclone, so he's only buying time. He tries to jump in, and now Jefe lands a hook as Tatui able to make his way out. Look on Muta. Noodle comes in. Massive crescent guard onto all of Singularity to send them back, and another hook connects. Pop over the wall, trying to do a bit of work. He's traded one for one, but Kevo is excited, and Kevo continues to chase. They're trying to find another kill, but they're unable to do so. And at the end of the day, it's support for jungle, Baron for Soul.
Yeah, Baron for Soul. I mean, but you know, it's the Ocean Soul that's the permanent buff. So essentially, they have to make use of this Baron here. Tatoi, I'm just going to be honest, I don't know what you're thinking. Without Cyclone, that is just a suicidal dive in. Fortunately, doesn't quite lose his life off the initial dive or the dive at all. Noodle goes in. Bit of a question mark if you ask me. The team doesn't quite seem like they're in the position to follow up, but eventually Kevo gets excited. But look at the damage that comes out of the Orianna ball onto Kevo. Almost forced into GA state immediately. 1 for 1 in the end. Death time is still ticking down, actually. But, I mean, again, it's Vanir that walk away with the permanent buff. SNG with the Baron buff that's only got another, what, 2 minutes left on it, 2.5 minutes left on it. They have to try and find some value out of it somewhere, but on the map, there's just not really that much left. You've got 2 tier 2s left, and then you've got the base. So SNG, realistically, this is a buff that's going to just be delaying time, finding more items in your inventory, and then you look towards this next Elder Dragon fight, the next Baron fight. Unless, of course, you can find a pick on the side lane. Something really silly like this. For now, they all siege up in the mid lane, so they definitely want to make use of it, obviously. Again, they do have the range advantage between the Jhin, between the Orianna ball. You can definitely sort of like poke these guys off, but the issue is with the Ocean Soul, that poke just becomes a little less valuable. So you kind of have to try and find his ult. Like Kevo, he's gonna be full HP off the, you know, by the time the next wave rolls around because of the Ocean Soul.
Yeah. You can see the pokers a lot, but like you said, it doesn't stick as much, unfortunately. That is a tower taken by Singularity in the bot side, and now there's only one tower that remains outside of Vanir's base, and this is a very close game. Kevo has to be careful. That hook did go down. The curtain call's been thrown, followed up by the Requiem, so just continue to find a little bit of poke. Kevo loses half his health. Ooh, maybe a little bit more. Okay. Not going to be dying here, but they will be able to take the tower, crack open into the base. Singularity using this Baron to siege up effectively, Inhibitor falls, and then may just rotate towards this bottom side. Tatui's got a wave, working his way up here, and the rest of the team are collapsing in. Tatui does have to be careful, so just jumps into the clone for some safety and pings out.
Yeah, I mean, they had to use this Baron some way. They do at least find that mid lane inhibitor. The Baron buff should be wearing off pretty soon. I think actually now. There you go. Drops off SNG. And I think you can definitely call that value for SNG for now. That mid lane inhibitor is going to be up when both Dragon and Baron spawn, so that is going to be a point of pressure that Vanir always have to answer. And if SNG can sort of pull off some kind of dance around either of these neutral objectives, and Vanir, eventually they've got to answer that mid lane super wave, which will start to take down and batter their base. But Vanir, again, still Ocean Soul, going to negate some of the core strengths of the SNG comp when it comes to the sieging side of things. But again, I think in the straight 5v5, it just seems like SNG have mostly had the advantage. I think it's all going to be about Kevo for Vanir and how they can actually allow him to find a lot of these free fire rockets, and also Sahira on his own back, I think, realistically, to get himself in position to find these massive spell flux overloads.
I mean, we've seen some absolutely bonkers damage coming out from Sahira.
Yeah.
On this rise, and it's something that obviously Singularity are going to be very much aware of, and they're going to be playing very much around. Got 1 minute 50 until the Baron comes up, and just after that is going to be the Elder Dragon. So again, we could see a trade of objectives. It feels like if you trade Baron for Elder, they almost slightly negate each other, because you don't want to get sieged and then, if you're sieging with Baron and they've got Elder, it makes like committing to try and kill someone incredibly hard without just losing everybody.
Yeah. When you're against Elder, you don't want to fight it. When you're against Baron, you don't want to siege it.
Uh-oh.
Negate each other entirely. That's a 4-man shockwave.
Muta, you're dead. Nice shockwave, but damn.
Oh.
I don't think it's enough. It's going to do a lot of damage, and it might just result in a tower going down. As Tatui actually jumps in with a Cyclone. Noodle is going to bop everybody back, and here's the curtain call. Kevo going very, very low. Is going to be able to survive. No Guardian Angel getting popped quite yet, and they don't finish off the inhibitor either. So it's just a 1 for none. Vanir able to put some brakes on from Singularity's side.
Yeah, I think SNG. Potentially in danger.
But I don't know if knows how many members are still here. He's rooted. He's going down. Bye-bye. Port with the bait. I'll hold the fort. Oh, the phone. Maybe. Looking for Quickset, but they're not going to do so. The Everfrost doesn't actually clef anybody. They find the hook. Guardian Angel still up onto Kevo. He's going to flash away. Jeppe is in a world of hurt. Sahira's overloads are doing oh so much work, and they just have to run away. Singularity can't do anything more. Muta's about to come back up. Optimistic rocket, we'll say, from Kevo.
Yeah, sure. do we get to name that one? Is that a comment or? Anyway, replay here. Yeah, Porp just recalling a little bit too far up the lane here. Nile almost finds him out, but Nile then oversteps yet again. It's not the first time that he's done that here in this game. Did it at the Baron towards the 20-minute mark, and then Quicksef isn't actually engaged onto by Hepe. Hepe, honestly, great patience to try and find Kevo, but unfortunately, okay, Vanir. Oh, they get themselves the Baron.
They're going Elder.
Yeah, they're just going to run straight to Elder. Hepe's still dead. If they get both of these buffs, this could just be game over. Requiem going to try and force the Vanir members back, but I mean, Ocean Soul is going to heal these guys up. And I mean, look at the Dragon, it's still 8k HP. Vanir, they've got all the right, if they want to still walk into this. They just have to be careful of this curtain call, the ball from Orion on the side, and that's about it.
I mean, Noodle might just be able to kill Muta here. They look for the hook. They can't quite find it. The traps are zoning. Noodle rooted in place. This fight is getting really hairy, really fast. Muta needs to be able to survive. Can he find the hero? The shockwave is stopwatch. Noodle's still alive. Muta's still alive. But Tatui is taken down by Nilly. They do trade out, though, but that's going to be the chase. Muta's bleeding down, but he won't die yet. The Elder Dragon and the Baron are given to Vanir. We start in a 41-minute slugfest fest. It's been so close between these teams, Jamada.
This has been, in its own definition, a bit of a barn burner. I mean, games, it feels like, haven't really gone like 42 minutes very frequently in the last year or so. This is definitely breaking that mold a little bit. We've got Baron and Elder on Vanir's side. They have to look to close out the game here. Otherwise, SNG, it seems like they are willing to fight tooth and nail for everything in this game. We get the replay, the curtain call is coming down. Noodle clipped by the last 2 bullets, I believe. No, just the penultimate one. And then you'll see the shockwave in the bush. The ball is there. Muta's looking for the walk-in, and he just doesn't find it. The backstep from all of these Vanir members, crucially. And I think Tatooine also just forces these guys back. And it's just a little bit of, you know, I wouldn't call it miscoordination, but it's just unfortunate timing on both of these engages. It means that these ultimates don't find each other in a combination, and Vanir, they're able to just walk through this team fight with ease. And with these super buffs, they're not really putting any pressure down, and that's a bit worrying to me. You've got both of these
that is
super
a
buffs.
bit of hesitation, potentially.
Yeah, you can understand it, right? Muta's been on point with the shockwaves. Jin is online, finally. Karthus, despite Porp's very questionable performance so far in this game, we've seen the Requiem basically chunk these members out almost half HP for the squishier members. So there's a lot of damage that can be returned by SNG, and of course, you can't even forget the Wukong flanks either. But right now, even with these super buffs, it seems like they don't feel quite confident enough. Finally, it looks like they're going to get some kind of value out. They got 30 seconds left on the Baron. They got about a minute, I believe, on the Elder still. And they're pushing up the mid lane. They're not going to go for either of these sides. They want to force and they want to end right now, it seems like. But the wave is gone.
Yeah, the wave is chipped through. They were able to put enough traps down with the Orianna as well to back up that damage. It's able to work through that, and here comes the Requiem. Here comes the Curtain Call. A little bit of bonus damage. Noodle actually does lose half his health, and wow, onto Sahira as well with that 4th shot, taking him just below half as Jeppe burning low, but the shielding is going to come through. Pretty clutch here. It's not going to be Jeppe yet, as he's going to be able to heal back up, but they're actually teleporting in. I believe that's Kevo? That is Kevo. Sorry, Sahira.
Yes.
Completely wrong person there. Sahira is able to make his way in. Baron buff will be wearing off, has worn off. They've still got the Elder for a little bit, and Muta has to be careful because they've still got the Elder burn as well. They're chipping away at the health bars. The traps are doing a fair amount of work, but Muta needs to be oh so careful. Nilly's just going to jump in. Remember, the Elder's on. They're looking for the burn. They're looking for the finish up, but Noodle is going to lose his life. The tower's alive, and that's going to be Porp going golden for the moment. Sahira throws out the Everfrost. Porp flashes away to safety. Tatooine trying to chase onto Sahira. And Sahira going to be able to survive for a little bit longer, but Muta finds himself a kill. Make it 2. Here's the hook. Here's the follow-up. Here's the finish up. Singularity just slamming the hammer down onto the side of Vanir. A triple kill for Muta. He's had a beautiful performance on the Orianna, and it is continuing into the later stages of this game.
SNG hold on again, and it's on the back of all of this beautiful performance coming out from Muta on the Orianna. Nile's going to do a little bit of work here to hold this minion wave up, but I think actually, no, this might just be enough to stop SNG from ending unless they feel like they can tank the towers.
Bot lane.
I'm actually not too sure. Bot lane, yeah, they've gone away bot lane though. That's the crucial thing. So I don't even think that mid lane heroic even matters that much. Still got around 20
Muta
20 seconds
teleported in, mate.
Yeah, this could be it. This actually could be off the back of a goal line defense from SNG. They have the wave on the bottom side. Noodle is here. We finally have as well the Gwen returning, and wow, SNG, they're gonna respect it. They're not even gonna give Vanir the opportunity to maybe find a pick and return. And it all starts off with that dredge line there onto Nile. Doesn't really do too much, and I mean, Noodle on the top side just gets a little bit over eager, over ambitious, you could say, as soon as SNG are able to start to turn around and get some more attacks in from the Jin. The shockwave immediately removes Lulu from the team fight, and they can't find lethal onto Tatooine either. It just feels like game in that particular fight. GA popped again by a massive amount of damage coming out of Muta, and Pepe, beautiful hook to lock down the AD carry. SNG.
Even though they lost Elder mid-fight, they still lost that fight with Elder. That's the crazy thing. That is how close. I mean, this game is so close, but Singularity just seems to be absolutely superb at team fighting. It's one cohesive unit. When I think Vanir, they've been playing well, but they've been scattered in phases, and those little scattered fights has thrown what was a good start to this game into a pretty dire situation. I think it's hard to call who's going to win this game still, though. We're 46 minutes in. The gold is relatively irrelevant at this point. Everyone other than the supports are full build, so that doesn't really matter. Is they have got the soul on the side of Vanir, and you know, they've been able to pick up objectives, but here comes the Requiem, here comes the Curtain Call. It looks like Singularity is looking for the fight, but Sahira is unleashing damage! No, he's not, he is popped!
Oh my god, Sahira's gone, and that's really huge for SNG because now they can start the Baron. That was a scary amount of rise damage, but I mean, it doesn't transfer into anything. It doesn't result in Vanir finding any picks onto key carries. It's just big numbers on the screen that's scary. And now all of a sudden, SNG, they can burn this Baron down with no rise. This Baron is a lot easier to take down. And I think Vanir, they're gonna poke, they're gonna prod.
Evo! What was that?
No way! Kevo with the downtown Mega. You can't make this up from Kevo. This game is absolutely crazy. And I think off the back of that, they can now actually find themselves the Elder. SNG, they're back out on the map already. They're gonna try and force their way into the river. Vanir don't really have much of a way of keeping them outside of the river. So this, for now, is gonna be a 4v5. But they have the Baron stats, that's the crucial thing. So Hero's coming back up, his teleport is almost there. SNG, they have to burn this dragon down right now. If they don't, Vanir are gonna get a
about to have
5v5
Rocket again. He might be able to do it. They're looking for Nilly. Nilly loses a fair amount of health here, but in they jump. The dragon is secured. Noodle's on his lone, and he's going to get burned down, but the realm warping into the base. They've got the barrel, but Singularity can't get back quick enough. They're teleporting members in. Can they do this? I don't know if they can. Tatooine's in. He's going low. The Requiem's coming down. Into the trap door. Yeah, we're starting off in style. The NLC is back, baby.
I hope you missed us because that's the kind of shenanigans that we are probably going to get to experience for a lot of Spring Split, man. Wow, Vanir, I mean, what a weird game, right? You separate these games in like 20-minute segments. You think about the first 20-minute, right? And then you think about the last 20 minutes of that game. First 20 minutes, wow, Vanir look really good. SNG, they're sitting on their hands. They can't do anything. It seems like Vanir are just a better team. And then all of a sudden, at that Baron, it just turns around. And all of a sudden, SNG are this amazing godsend team fighting team, which Vanir can't budge an inch off of. Oh man, what a crazy,
Honestly,
crazy way to open up the Spring Split. Vanir, they get their first win to split SNG.